Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me welcome our two witnesses. I want to go back to some of the testimony here of Mr. Black, where you acknowledged, as has Mr. Tennant, that the CIA fell short, using your words, in not informing the Department of State that you had identified two al-Qaeda men, and these were the two, al-Mihdhar and al-Hazmi, who were hijackers on Flight 77. These were two people you had identified back in January of 2000 and in March of 2000. There's another problem here beside failing to notify the State Department, and that was failure to notify the FBI. The FBI says that it did not know of key bits of information, that a visa had been issued to one of them and that the other one had actually entered the United States until August of 2001. So there was not just a failure to notify the State Department to get these folks on the watch list, but the CIA was aware of the fact that one of them had a multiple entry visa and the other one had actually entered the country in March. Why was, and by the way, this is nothing to do with intelligence information and nothing to do with not crossing a line between criminal investigation and intelligence investigation. This was public information. This was a visa had been issued and somebody had traveled actually to the United States. My question is this: why was the FBI not notified by the CIA of those two critical facts about two people that the CIA had identified as terrorists until August of 2001?
Because of the nature of our work being very fast-paced, there was communication, and there was communication between the CIA officers in the Counterterrorism Center and individuals in the FBI, particularly a CIA officer assigned to the FBI. There were phone conversations, emails, things like that. In particular, the lapse that we're referring to is to do the extra work of submitting a formal report to the State Department into their lookout system, tip-off, so that action can be taken. There was communication. I think you have a very good point. We have admitted to the lapses of not submitting a report in a form that would be actionable, but there was communication, but there's also an incredible amount of work.
Yeah. Let me just go to that point, though, about the lack of communication. You say there was communication. I want to focus on those two specific critical facts. Are you saying that the CIA did communicate to the FBI that those two people that you suspected as being terrorists had a multiple entry visa into the United States and had entered the United States? Are you saying that in that communication, that general word you're using, that those two facts were communicated orally to the FBI? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is the identities, the names of the individuals.
No.
But the issue of the visa is problematic.
All right.
We have no evidence that that piece of information was communicated.
And that's critical information. Now to the FBI. The FBI is at the Counterterrorism Center.
Yes, sir.
And so when the Counterterrorism Center is informed of this information, why is that not automatically then known to the FBI? We're trying to connect dots here, folks. The Counterterrorism Center is one place where the dots are supposed to be connected. And now I want to press the FBI. Since you're at the Counterterrorism Center, and since that information, I believe, went to the Counterterrorism Center, why then wasn't the FBI put on notice that two terrorists identified as in early 2000 as terrorists, because they had been at those critical meetings in Kuala Lumpur, why then was that not enough notice, just being at the CTC, for the FBI to then say, whoops, wait a minute, these guys have visas to the United States? This guy entered the United States? Why weren't you put on notice? How can you say you didn't know about this until August of 2001?
I don't know the answer to that, Senator. And there's a volume of information that flows through every day. And I'm not sure where the FBI agents were at the time that might have had access to that cable or not. It might have come in from the other division of the CIA. So I can't defend or say that they saw it and didn't report it. I will say, though, without a doubt, I know that if the agency had it, there was no plot, no thought by anybody at the CIA not to tell us.
Well, well, wait a minute. There was a decision by the CIA not to tell you back in June of 2001. They were sitting there at a meeting, and the decision was made at that meeting in New York not to tell the FBI about it. That was a CIA decision for reasons that totally mystify me, because this is not criminal investigation versus intelligence. This isn't blurring the line, violating rules and regulations. This has got nothing to do with that. This is public visa information. This is public travel information, commercial travel information. I understand the rules and regulations about not blurring the line between criminal investigation and intelligence, because you don't want to mess up your criminal investigation. But that is not the type of information that the CIA, that we're talking about here, and that the CIA did not share at that June meeting. But I want to press the FBI.
Sir, could I just say one
sure.
thing? As we understand it, sir, the CIA analyst was not permitted to provide all the information FBI criminal investigators wanted because of laws and rules against contaminating criminal investigators with intelligence information.
I understand that.
Okay,
but you're saying you could have put and should have put it on the watch list of the State Department. This isn't polluting
Senator,
criminal investigation. This is stuff that should have gone on the watch list by your own acknowledgement. This is a visa. That's public information. This is commercial travel. That is public information. There is no pollution of criminal investigation whatsoever under any regulation by simply the CIA telling the FBI, hey, watch these folks. We have identified these folks as terrorists. These folks have entered the United States. That's all you have to tell them. You don't have to go into sources, methods. You don't have to talk about wiretaps. You don't have to talk about anything. Just that these folks, identified by us, have now entered the United States. That's all we're talking about. There's no violation of any rule, any regulation that I know of by simply telling the FBI that, and I think you acknowledge that when you say we should have notified the State Department to put them on a watch list. That makes it the kind of information which is and should have been available to the FBI. My time is up. If the chairman wants to give them time to comment, that would be up to the chairman. I would welcome it, but I can't press that any further with that red light on.
Certainly, if your answers are brief in this response, we'd
just
allow
beg
you
it
to
for,
respond.
in my view, I think we're talking about two separate things. On the one hand, we're talking about the New York meeting between the CIA and the FBI, and on the other, we're talking about the watch listing issue. Yes, the whole purpose of the system is to provide this type of information to the Department of State.